Well,
All right.
hello, everybody, and welcome to Chit Chat with Sharice. I am Sharice Gilliam, and I'm here in the Hustlepreneur Studios today, and I am with one of my favorite all-time friends, and I just love talking to him, so I'm going to have to get a lot in today so that you guys can get all the little nuggets from him, but he is a master of so much information. His name is David Watts, and he's from OnStage Plus, and someday we're going to get David and Bernie on the show because trust me, you want them both on here. They are a phenomenal couple and they're doing some fantastic work. So let me jump in and let David tell you about who he is, what his company is about, and then I can get to all those nitty gritty questions so we can get some real, true information about business from him. All right, David, tell me about all things David.
Well, I was born son of a sharecropper
We're
back
not
in
that,
19.
this show ain't that long, so could we
Oh,
just
okay. Okay.
jump a little ahead
Well,
to 2020?
so
COVID.
fast forward. Born in Buffalo, New York, came out here in '81. I've worked as a EMT, as a paramedic, as a photographer, as a computer engineer, and now I'm a managing partner at OnStage Plus, and we're a digital media content company in approximately 248 million homes globally.
Wow, that's a lot of homes. 200, man, that's like you could be a president if everybody voted for you. Okay, so tell
Ooh.
me, right? Boom, that part. Okay, so how does anybody even get into that? And tell me, what does that really mean to me as a small business person?
Well, there was a time when you literally had to have, if you wanted to go on television, you had to basically have a satellite truck, you had to have antennas, this huge infrastructure, millions upon millions of dollars to put somebody on TV. And that's what they'd be like, look, Mom, I'm on TV because it was such a novel thing.
Right.
Fast forward to the 80s and 90s, and now all of a sudden people were able to chat and send things on their phones. Fast forward to 2000, and now talking on the phone has become as commonplace as email. And then, of course, you fast forward 10 more years, and now streaming and broadcasting digital images and content is as easy as sending an email or text message. So now no longer do we need a satellite truck. Like literally, we can have a team go to a rally, say today, set up, and within 10 minutes, we're sending that signal all over the world from basically a backpack, a device no bigger than a backpack.
Wow. So now where does it go? Does it like I've cut the cord somewhat, so they say, right? I've cut the cord from watching traditional cable television. So I am now what they call an internet television user. So I use the internet to
Yes,
watch my TV. So what does that
and
mean?
you're absolutely, you're with probably about 80 to 89% of the population that has really cut the cord. Cable at one point was losing up to 10,000 subscribers a week because like I have cable, I have internet. I don't have the traditional cable. Back when cable really was at its peak, people were like, "Oh my God, I can get up to 100 or maybe even 200 channels," and it was incredible. But we have now become so commonplace to where having access to 5,000 channels is like, ugh, what else you got?
Yeah.
Because there's so much opportunity out there. That, like I said, once again, and I mention this because in our mindset, I think we think of television, we always think of what they call traditional or terrestrial TV. And what that basically means is that's a TV station that is locked onto land. They send a signal to a satellite, actually, send a signal to a TV network, or excuse me, and what do you call things? The relay stations, which are ground based like antennae,
Right.
and then they send it from one to another station that picks it up and broadcasts it to the viewers. That's how it was done in the old days. Then along came satellite TV, which is when cable came along and HBO and things like that, where the signal would be sent to a satellite and then it would be beamed down to a number of different homes. But you needed a special box to receive the signal. Now, our signal goes via satellite and it goes down to anybody that has a computer, tablet, phone, smart TV, anything. So literally, you have what's called OTT. They call it over the top, and I hate that word because it sounds so like what's over the top.
But it's really
So we are
because it's
basically,
over the top of a layer. It's another
yeah,
layer. right
Yes, you know,
now.
go
Yeah.
ahead. That's right. That's right. And so it's a digital signal placed over the top of a voice over IP address. And so because of that, we are literally over in billions of homes. Like for example, our network is on the Roku station, which has about 48 million subscribers. We're on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, Android TV, as well as our custom app in the iOS and Google Play stores. And so what happens with that is all those people that buy that, if you have a smart TV, you can get our signal. If you have an Android device, iOS device, Apple TV, you can get our signal. Roku device, Amazon, you can get our signal. So with
So
all
just for
those
the
people, it comes, huh?
so just for the just to for the people who may not be techies and know exactly what all this technology is you're talking about. So if I did a more simplistic understanding of it, it would be if I turn my TV on and on came a screen, it would have a bunch of icons there, which we call apps, right? So I could either, if I'm using a Roku box or a Roku TV, I either hit, YouTube app or hit the Netflix app or hit the Hulu app, and then I begin to watch my TV. But in
That's
your case,
exactly right.
you hit the OnStage Plus app, and then it opened it up to all the different TV stations that you have on
That's
your
exact.
own kind of network. Is that right?
There we go. You that you wow. You know, I'm often told I'll go around the block across the street. You simplify it in a way that is perfect. That's exactly right. That's exactly
Well, because
right.
that's kind of how my TV looks. So I use Apple TV. So we use the internet to get to Apple TV. And then on Apple TV, I can pick whatever app I want to watch based on the shows that I want to watch. No longer locked in, like you said, in the old days when you turn the TV on, all your stations were there. Now you have
Right.
the TV stations kind of become apps. And then within
Right.
apps, you now have different shows and stations and everything.
Yes.
So
You know,
how does
somebody
a
put on
person go
hmm?
ahead? Go ahead.
Somebody put on TV a while ago. You know, maybe your viewers probably won't remember this, but there used to be a book called a TV Guide, and it
Mm.
would show you Monday at 8 o'clock. This is what's coming on this channel and that channel, and it's so funny because if you missed it, you just missed it.
Right.
Nowadays, everything is either video on demand or it's live. So if you missed it, you just go back and you just replay it.
Yeah.
Everything is at your fingertips.
I'll tell you a funny story here. The truth of the TV Guide, right? So my father-in-law used to have a national distribution company where he used to deliver the TV Guide, Jet Magazine, Ebony Magazine, along with People Magazine, a few other magazines. But those were the big, heavy money makers. Like he bought 5 houses, a boat, a car, put his kids through college on delivering those magazines. Bought a 5-bedroom house. It just like he made a mint with those magazines. Funny used to be, as much as he delivered those magazines, I would find myself calling him and saying, "Hey, what's coming on TV? Because I can't find my TV guide." Right? Because that was it. Like if you didn't have the TV guide, and if you didn't get the TV guide, you got the newspaper, but you only got it for a week at a time. Versus the
Yes.
TV guide gave you the whole month at a
Yes.
time. You could see what's coming on in the future. So you were privileged to have a TV guide. Otherwise, you were stuck with like week to week.
Mhm.
Hilarious, and it really dates ourselves. Right now,
Yeah.
now that everybody knows that we're really, really old, right? How would I, as a small business owner, so I am a business coach and consultant. I have a podcast. I have a book coming out. I have an ebook coming out. I have an online university, Hustler Mode Academy will be coming out soon. Why do I need to be on TV?
Because when you talking TV, are you talking terrestrial TV or the new type of platforms such as ourselves that are basically over the top or digital networks
Well, I
TV?
guess it would almost be a no-brainer. Be like, why do I need to be over the top? But
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So that's
For
kind of like,
example,
yeah,
right.
you need to be over the top. But if I wanted to be, what is appealing to a small business owner as to why would they want to be on Stage Plus network? What's appealing to them about that?
Gotcha. So imagine you've got a budget of, okay, I've got $5,000 and I want to put my commercial or my information out on TV. So I go to TV and they go, great, we're going to take your $5,000, thank you, and we're going to put your commercial on our network. And everybody in the San Francisco Bay Area is going to see it. You go, okay, well, great. So 10,000 people see it, and of that, you get a 1% response, maybe 1,000 reply, and then, of course, maybe 100 will use it. So maybe you get 20 new users. They go, that's a good return. But what happens if you want to have people in Los Angeles in New York,
Yeah.
in Italy, in overseas, people around the world to see your content, you need to go with a network that has a global reach. So that's what happens when you go with networks such as ours, because we're not just based in one area. Of course, I mean, our signal is broadcast globally. So
Right.
what happens is when you go with us, you put a commercial on, that commercial goes to the different Roku, Apple, all these platforms, and you got all these different demographics going, oh, look at that. Oh, wow. And so now you're going, wow, we're getting emails from Germany, from Africa, from London, from Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Brazil. You're getting emails and content and connections from all over the planet versus just going with one company that is just based in one location with a smaller signal. And that's really why traditional TVs are having a hard time keeping up, because how do you compete with that? You
Yeah,
do a
no, and I
commercial,
think
everybody in that market sees it, but nobody else.
yeah, and this is fascinating because I find that I'm watching television and I watch YouTube TV. So I'm watching YouTube television and I'm watching my show, Discovering Networks. I have a show I like. I'm watching that show because it comes on that platform. And all of a sudden it goes, we're in a commercial break, and it just sits there and it goes YouTube TV. We're in a commercial break. We're in a commercial break, and then finally my show comes back. But then a few minutes later, a show will come on. The commercial will come on, but it will be a commercial. It'll be like a Geico commercial or something. And I'm thinking, hmm. So it tells me that the person who where it was blank, they couldn't afford to be on all, or they didn't for whatever reasons, they're not broadcasting that commercial to all their viewers, only to a specific market, which means you're not in that market. That's why you don't see that commercial. Versus Geico is doing across the board to everyone, which is why no matter what, you see the Geico commercial.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Well, the way it works too, like for example, I watch YouTube. I watch the free version. So so what happens is I get commercials up the wazoo. So when your TV was blank, because you said you pay for your YouTube TV,
Yes.
with me, I'm seeing those commercials. I'm going and I'm seeing those. So when I look at it from an advertising standpoint to YouTube, they go, would you like to advertise in this market, which is this amount, or in this amount? So the ones that are more exclusive, the YouTube TV subscribers, that's more money, because they go, look, we go get us in front of our subscribers. So we're only going to have this many commercials allotted. Maybe say 5 commercials in
Right.
the entire duration of the programs. Versus if you did it free, you go probably get 25 commercials.
Right.
So where I have to watch a lot more commercials because they figure you ain't paying, so we got to have somebody pay for this content, versus you who are paying your subscription. You might see the Geico ad, versus I'm gonna see the Geico ad and the AAA ad and the Netflix ad. I'm gonna see all these ads because once again, I don't have the exclusive ability to have to block them.
So now, are you the same way? Are you set up where we would come on and have a station on your channel, on your network, and you're going to block out based off of the demographics of the type of people who the show would be for, or the commercial?
Well, no, see, we're a subscription-based company, so the way we do it is a little different. So when people actually look at our content, they're actually paying for access to that content on a monthly basis and not really paying for commercials. So what happens is we have like sponsors. So you might say, okay, this program is sponsored by at the top of the show, and then of course at the bottom when it ends, this program presented or was sponsored by, and that's it. We don't go
Wow.
and say, okay, we're going to get a commercial. We'll be right back on these commercial messages. Although some advertisers have asked, hey, can you start doing commercials? And we're funny thing you mentioned that, because we even heard Netflix is thinking about
What?
introducing commercials and saying, look, if you're paying this amount of money, you go get commercials. But if you want to go to this tier, no commercials. So there may be people that maybe, you know what, I'm going to go and pay $5 more so I can get no commercials.
That
But
would
the
be
rest of
me.
those
That would be
people are
me.
going to
I'd
be
be
like,
paying $5 more for no commercials. But Hulu is the same way. So
yeah,
Hulu, you used to
yeah,
pay. I remember when I first had Hulu and it was free, and then they charged
right,
you, and
right,
then it became charge you for live TV. Well, I don't watch live TV over there, so I don't pay. You had a package where you get no commercials and then no commercials with live TV,
right,
right? Well, the live TV you can't control. There are actually commercials in that one. They limit the number, but you still get commercials in there.
right.
Right. So you mean Netflix is thinking about having that kind of package?
They're
Wow,
thinking
that's
from what I heard, they're thinking about having that where they're basically going to say, look, Here's a commercial, maybe 1 or 2 commercials, but to offset their cost, because I guess they're saying that their cost is really getting expensive overseas, they're gonna have to introduce commercials.
Right.
Now, there's a way to be creative because we've actually looked at some of the ways, just like motion pictures do when they actually now are funding movies. You'll see, like in the beginning, it will say this movie, presented by Universal Studios,
Right.
and it'd be your big name stars and everything. And then as time went on, it was like this movie presented by Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, MGM. Everybody's coming on and partnering because they're like, look, this is too expensive. And so then you go in there, you've got, and the star might be like, I don't know. Let's go to the Pizza Hut and let's find out. Pizza Hut. Wait a minute, is he wearing a good? So now you got these sponsorships and these product placement deals that are actually now in the actual movie that help them pay for the movie. So that's something we're thinking about as well, where we might have some of the hosts who have a thing on there and going, wow, I sure do love my market water.
Like if I had an OnStage Plus mug right now, I'd do a couple little sip, right?
You got it. You got to get her a mug. Get her a mug. Yes,
right. And it's sad because I have
a
hustlepreneur mug, and I should be drinking out of it right now, but I happen to love this mug, so I'm going to actually make this mug say hustlepreneur on it.
I love it. Yes, and then you can get it.
Right? I love that.
Yes,
mug. And
I like that.
but that's a great example of product placement.
Right? Yes, exactly.
So how do you help the small business owner do any of these things? Like if I was sitting here listening to this podcast, my mind would be like, blown. What? All this technology, over the top, broadband, internet, applications, networks, channels. Woo, that's a lot, right? So if who is the person that be reaching out to you looking for these services? Who would that be?
Oh boy. So we are looking for, I hate to say small business, we like to say emerging business, medium, and even large businesses. If you're looking to get in front of a broad-based user group, or you want to segment the group, and you want to say, look, I want to reach this demographic, we'll sit down with you and go, okay, what does that look like? Who are you trying to reach? What's your product and service? And how do we film it? What's so great about it is we have the ability to come and to the person and say, okay, let's sit down, let's do a discovery session. Let's figure out what you want, how you want it to look. Then we have the equipment to come in, to film, shoot your video, your commercial, edit it, and then put it on our network. Wow. So we're almost like a one-stop shop.
Yeah. So now what if you said, hey, what if I said, I'm sorry, my watch is talking to me. I'm gonna take Mickey off of there. Me and Mickey, he just talks whenever he wants to. I love this watch, but Mickey I'm gonna move him I'm gonna put on the what are those little people the little from Pixar Studios? I'm gonna put them on and on talk.
The Disney product placement. Look at that. They should be paying right there.
They should be paying, right? Because Mickey talks too much. Right. So what if I said, well, maybe I'm not quite emerging enough to be big enough to say, hey, I need a show on your network, right? But I need video editing, maybe commercials, maybe a commercial to put, up on my YouTube channel or something like that. What about, because some people are right in that cusp. So are they at the beginning, truly emerging, or do they really need to be full-fledged, emerged kind of in order to be able to utilize a service?
No, all you need to do is understand the importance of marketing. I would say even if you've got a YouTube channel, it's important that you look professional. As we know, they say this is boggling, for every minute of video being watched, 10 hours of video are being uploaded.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, how much space they got? So that's
right. Well, they're building some new server farms, I heard too. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's so funny because, like, for example, look at the clarity of your camera and mine. We're obviously using 4K cameras.
Yes.
And that's good. And YouTube is one of the only places so far that really promotes you and wants you to use the 4K bandwidth. Right. Facebook, these other places are like, that's too much bandwidth. You got to do 1080p. You got to make it smaller. But I mention that because people will go and get a YouTube channel and put stuff on their phone and think that's enough. And if you're just doing stuff from home, you're doing makeup tips and you're just having fun, that's fine. But if you come to me and tell me you want my money and you think that I should use you as a customer, I should be your customer, and you using your phone,
Yeah, it's funny because when I started my YouTube channel and I began the podcast, I did a lot of research. I'll tell people, if you are in business and you are not like becoming the research queen or king of something, you're not doing it
Hmm.
right. So much research went into it. And then I discovered that in 2020 is when YouTube switched over to 4K. And now they have an algorithm that puts your videos first if you film in 4K. So I went and bought a 4K camera. I think we did a show once on all the little
Yes.
technology that you use inside your studio. And I got a 4K camera so that I could make sure that it has a high enough quality to make sure that the algorithms will find what I need and it will
Yeah.
also broadcast the way you want. I believe a lot of that 4K technology is because TVs are 4K. And if YouTube is broadcasting a lot to television,
Right.
and a lot of people are now watching YouTube and channels and apps on their television. So
Right.
they want to be able to make sure that you see that 4K video content on your television screen in that crisper quality. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know where I found out about the 4K information?
where?
You. You
Wow,
actually,
that
oh
was
yeah.
one of my tips.
You
I
actually
even
was
give
one of
away
those
so much
nuggets you
information I be
dropped.
forgetting.
That's it.
Wow.
You dropped one of those nuggets. And I was like, I didn't even know. I didn't
Yeah.
even know. And I went back and I looked and I was like, oh my God, because not only does it help, like you said, elevate your rankings,
Mhm.
but it's like you've got to really stay on top of this. And what's so great about what you're doing is because you can either spend all your time trying to go to all these different sources, or
Right.
you can just go to you and go, what do I need to do to
Yes.
be where I need to go to? So that's just hands up to you for doing that. That's
Well, thank
great.
you. And I think that's the beauty of having a good coach who has a lot of knowledge and does a lot of research.
Yeah.
Right. I tend to do a lot of
Yeah.
research on things before I try to jump out there into them. And I think when they do that, you really bring a value. And then I give away a lot of free tips like that
Oh
one
yeah.
when I'm on my Facebook Live or when I'm doing something. I try to share those super bits of nuggets of information so that it really saves you an enormous amount of time. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking about saving people lots of time, tell me about how does it work? What is a timeline that you'd be looking at? So if I came to you and I said, okay, David, I'm all in, I'm ready to get started, what would be the first thing I'd have to do or have to know to really make it effective and efficient?
Well, I would say first, I want to make sure there were no unrealistic expectations. A lot of times people think, okay, I'm going to go on and I'm going to pay this 500, $2,000, and next week I'm going to be your phones are ringing off the hook. That's not the way it works. A lot of times, like for example, they say psychologically that a person has to hear something 3 times before they get it. You remember back in the old days on radio where they go the motocross speedway coming to the Coliseum Sunday, 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 and you go,
Right.
when is that? Oh, Sunday, got it. Where? So the average, that's why they would repeat that so many times. So a lot of times when people watching the commercial, they say, that, let me remember this right. It was, there's 4 things the human mind remembers. It's humor, sex, strange. I think it was 3. Humor, sex, or things that are strange. And if you look at commercials, they usually fall into one of those categories
Yeah.
because they've done this research. They notice that just doing come and buy our stuff, people are like,
Yeah, no, and I
uh,
think Doritos has a commercial with the no logo. That's got to be the most brilliant ad because they get to
really?
do a whole commercial. Whoop, boom, another piece of negative information. They get to do a whole commercial with the no logo and they don't never say their name. And at the very end, they said, ooh, that's a game changing because if you could do a commercial with no logo, that's game changing. But you know who they are because they rhyme. Everything rhymes with Doritos through the whole commercial. And they show the triangle and they keep showing the little triangle of the Dorito squares. They show the bags with no things on them. Now you could get lost, but it really is in my mind that's in the strange category, so it's memorable and
Yes.
it's funny, right?
Oh,
Like they do
absolutely.
little things with these Dorito bags, and they put them in the commercial, and then before you know it, you're like, well, clearly that's Doritos, right?
Right.
But at the end, they're like,
Exactly.
boom, that's game changing. A commercial with no logos, now that's game changing. I'm like, wow, that is a game changer. So you're right that
Absolutely.
they stay away from the sex part, but they got the strange and the funny in there to ensure it's a memorable.
Absolutely. And y'all, if you remember a few years, or probably about 10 years ago, GoDaddy, a web hosting company, kind of got in trouble because they did a commercial during the Super Bowl
Right.
of this lady who was very, I think she's on a car and she's got like water being poured on her or oil, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And she's talking about going to GoDaddy.
Right.
Oh, daddy, and everything. And people are like, how dare you? But it increased their
Yeah,
sales. They said
their
like
sales went through the
48%.
roof, and then that after that,
Yeah,
they used to have her.
yeah,
Then they got Danica Patrick, who was the NASCAR driver, to be
yeah.
their spokesperson after that, and she has a phenomenal commercial now about how she's changed her game. She's no longer in the NASCAR business. She now sells athletic equipment gear, like leggings and jackets and all athletic gear. But she has a real cool commercial too on how she flipped her script with GoDaddy websites. But that's a perfect example, right? So, is
Yeah.
it a commercial that somebody should be looking for? So, if I want a commercial, um, filmed, scripted, all those pieces, I'll tell you something funny. The other day, I was part of a gratitude. Uh, uh, it's a like a gratitude awareness for Thanksgiving, and I have to do a shout out to my friend Jamie Grogan Perkins who put me in it, and I had to do 1.5 minute commercial. So the speaker was actually like a talk about why I was grateful. I must have did 92 takes on the 1.5 minute because as soon as you do it, you get to the last sentence and you mess up. And I was like, oh, okay, take one. I must have did 92 of those. Then I thought, why did I not just write this down? So I could have had the script and then just read it and been done. So when you're like, give us some ways to be prepared to make a commercial.
Well, I would say first thing you want to do, and identify what your budget is, and that's whether you go with a professional company such as ours, or if you just grab your kids and say, you know what, grab your phone, we're gonna do this.
Right.
What's your budget? When I say what's your budget, are you going to then take that finished product and just put it on your YouTube page, or are you gonna put it on and actually pay for promotions? Are you gonna put it on your Facebook? Know where you're gonna put that finished product at. And number two is, like you said, write it down and script it out. And I kind of like to use the Warren Buffett method. They
Mhm.
said Warren Buffett never invested anything he wouldn't buy.
Yes.
So I always look at it like, is this something I would buy? Does this make me laugh? Is this something that I think appeals to me?
Right.
Because if it does, then it might appeal to other people that are like me. And then that might be something that's going to actually help, you know, you put the ad together. Um, and of course, people don't have to subscribe to our network to see our ads clients place with us because we have other websites such as OnStagePlus.live where they can actually see sample teaser shows that are coming up on the subscription base. And our ads are placed with major actually platforms on the regular screen. So, example, if you have like Roku, outside of actually going to the different networks, there's usually like different ads on the side. Like Apple TV, whatever it is, there's ads on the side and you can actually see it there. So when you're looking at doing your ad, look at what your budget is and see where you want it to wind up at. Like I said, scroll out your ad and see if it's going to be funny, humorous, informative. Is it memorable? And
Right.
sometimes when you do an ad, like, so, you're so close to it, you go, oh, this is really great. Have another audience who's non-biased come in and say, listen to this. And at the end, you're laughing and you're
Yeah.
like, that was really funny. And they're like, you might want to rethink your copy,
Right.
So take those things into consideration. But when you got gold, you hitting, the family's cracking out, and people are like, oh, that's really good. That's what winds up going viral. And that's what winds up
Yeah,
getting you a lot
my
of
uh,
publicity
my
for cheap.
favorite question, my favorite question I ask people and I ask myself all the time is I show something to somebody and I call you and I ask you all the time too, say, hey, would you buy this? So I'll show you this, hey, look at my, whatever. We are just launching the hustler mode. Um, it is I am a mad hustler with a dream 12-month calendar that is now available on Lulu. So if you type in hustlerpreneur on lulu.com, you'll be able to find our 12-month calendar. And we have little quotes, inspirational quotes on every month. So you can put that in your office, put that in your studio, put that in your room, and you can give it to your kids. It's all kid friendly, but it just has a lot of inspirational quotes in it. And when I was putting it together, some of the quotes I like, right? I love this quote. I love this quote. I live by this quote. And then other people are like, no, that is not a good quote. And I'm like, but why isn't it? They're like, it's too long, or it's too wordy, or it's too hard to understand, or it's too. So, okay, so I'd have to scrap it. And to come up with 12 of my favorite quotes took me like 36 quotes to go through to make sure people loved, that every one of them hit the point. So I agree with you. Always ask somebody else to see, is this something you buy? And I'm very happy to say that we just launched the new calendar yesterday, which is a um, 14-month calendar, because if you buy it now, this is November 9th, 2020, but it goes through December 31st, 2021. So that way, if it takes you a month, the one thing I hate about calendars is by the time I get it, I'm already flipping past the next month because it took
Right.
me so long to get it, right? Well, if you get it now, you'll get November and December of this year in it. So then you're prepared for the January of next year. So um, thinking ahead too, right? Always thinking ahead. So
That
we're
is
over here
incredible.
doing it in Hustlepreneur Studios. We are hanging out with David Watts from OnStage Plus. He is telling us about how to get up our commercials, get scripted, get together, get onto his network, and be able to broadcast out to what? 48 million homes.
248 million households
That number
globally.
is a mind-boggling number to me. Like that's doing it moving. You know what I'm saying? That 248 million, that's a lot of homes. And that's mind-boggling to me. Um, I can't imagine just having something going to 248 million homes simultaneously would just be a game changer for people. And with the right content, it can completely change the business and business model. That is phenomenal, right? All right, David. So let's talk about, we just jump straight in. We got all these good nuggets of information, but how do I reach you?
Well, if you go to my MySpace,
Right, that one.
that's a shame. Sorry, Tom. Shout out to Tom who's still over there on MySpace. But
Right.
if you go to our thing is D Watts at OnStage Plus. You can go to info to OnStage Plus. Um, one thing I like to do when I think it's catchy is go to get me David Watts at gmail.com. So that way you want to go, what? Get me David Watts. Where's he at?
Right.
He's on Gmail.
Right. I like
Right.
that.
So there's different ways. Of course, you go to onstageplus.com and you can look for me there. And there's a lot of different, like I said, Facebook, search, that guy that's a multimillionaire. I pop up. I think I should. Anyway, there's a lot of different ways. Matter of fact, yeah, we have a new show coming out, which we're actually about to launch
Mm.
in the fall. We're very excited. We just signed the paperwork. Can I mention that? Can I mention that?
Oh, is that the
We,
yeah,
we mentioned for your audience
the
only. I do for
information.
your audience.
All right.
We just signed Mr. Sean Fair, is a great motivational speaker out of Detroit, and Mr. Les Brown. And they're
Wow.
going to be doing a new show called The Next Great Motivational Speaker.
Wow.
Next Greatest Speaker. And it's actually going to be, if you can imagine, American Idol with
Oh, I should,
America's
because
Next Top Model.
every single one of my people who are having a podcast, I want everything that they're doing, right? I'm like, I want to jump in this, I want to jump in that. I swear I just want to do everything. But I could be the next motivational speaker. Well, wait, I'm already the next motivational speaker.
You are, you're in the league, like you here. They
Yeah.
just right here. You already here.
You know what they say, if you don't believe in you, nobody else will, right? So
For
absolutely.
real. People are like, why you tooting your own horn? Well, damn, if I don't, who
Yeah,
will?
right. Who else will? Well, I think somebody else was saying that same thing earlier. If you don't toot your own horn, then no one else will, right? You guys have a phenomenal company. You are fun to work with. You are easy to understand. You make the technology easy to understand. And I think that people who, if you just needed, like I had social media questions, I call you, you'd be like, hey, this is how it works. Hey, get your social media stuff together. Get on this platform. Hey, sign up. We have a software that can distribute you across all the, oh my God, I blew my mind with that software, right? We have the software that can show you across all the platforms. Um, and
Have
you
you
stay on the
used it
cutting edge.
yet? Because we set you up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was just
You
like, boom, when I got that login, like, oh my God. We just like, my social media team is just like going crazy about that. But I love it because you stay on the cutting edge of what is coming up too. That's hard to do. How do you do that?
it's so funny because I think with all the stuff that we find out with, there's still stuff, and that's why once again Going back, I know people like, oh, they just keep congratulating each other, but it's so true that sometimes I'll miss stuff and I'll be like, and you'll come and say, hey, did you know about this? And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. So it's one of those things you try to look, but there's so much stuff that you'll never know everything, but you're trying at least to be aware of what you know. Looking at different trade magazines. And matter of fact, one of the things which I guess everybody knew except me, Google Alerts is really great. When you put in there and you put like new tech, all the new
Yes.
tech that comes out, Google Alerts will start saying, hey, did you know about this? Did you know about that? And it's like, oh,
Right.
so it's really great. It kind of, it might not be everything you're looking for. And sometimes it's like, oh, I got to turn everything off because it's going on and on and on. But it really is something that kind of brings stuff to you, especially when life is happening and you can't every day go and say, I'm going to take 10 minutes down and scan all these periodicals. You need to automate stuff. And that's really what's going on with the future
Automation.
automation.
Oh my goodness. We don't even have enough time to even go into automation. That is the buzzword of 2020. If
Yeah.
you are not putting your business on automation, and it's difficult sometimes too, because you
Yeah.
automate one piece and then you automate another piece. And now I'm finding how to connect the two automated pieces so that they become seamless, right?
Yeah.
Automation is really like the next thing to do in your business. If you're not putting some stuff on autopilot so that it's running, so that you're able to develop and do other stuff and other parts of your business, then it's going to take you a lot longer to grow, right?
Absolutely. It's so
That's
funny. I
what
actually
coming to
saw a
people
post.
like you help do that social media automation piece. That is a
Yeah.
big piece. Like, I don't know if people recognize that or not, but that social media automation tool that you have software is, if they don't have it, they ought to get it. They ought to figure out how to get it from you. It is phenomenal, but it is a piece that can really be game changing for people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
So funny. I saw actually a post on Instagram and it said, he said, this morning I woke up and I called Siri Alexa. And he said, I had to pause because I can't believe I live in a world where I'm getting my robot servants' names mixed up.
Right. And wait, because Siri, when I call her Alexa, she said, I'm sorry, you are in the wrong household. I'm like, me and Siri, we go at it all the time. She would just be like, I'm sorry, you're in the red bed, you're in the wrong bed, you're in the wrong address, you need to go down the street. My name is Siri, and don't forget it. She's a trip. I don't know who programmed her, but she is, whoever programmed mine, she's serious spicy, right? Because she would tell me, I'm in the wrong neighborhood. You need to go down the street. Like, what? My name is Siri, and don't forget it. Excuse me, right? But just those kind of things like that, automating our world. Where last night we had bought the Google Assistant um, the little speaker thing. Well, we're Apple. I'm an all day Apple girl. Everybody knows me. I'm all Apple everything. So that Google thing was just like not working for us because we couldn't get it really to work with anything. So now Apple has one. They have the HomePod, and we're talking about we should get another HomePod and we should connect them with. And I was thinking, do I really need to be like, hey, dishwasher, start? Hey, washing machine, start? What I need is somebody to be like, hey, pick the clothes up and put them in the washing machine. When is it going to do that part? Right.
But I saw there was a movie a few years ago, I think it was called I Robot with Will Smith.
Yes. Yes. We were
And
just talking about
and
that,
it's so
right?
funny because that company, Roomba, came out with iRobot, the little vacuum thing. And I was
Mhm.
like, they had such a marketing bonanza thrust into them that they actually, I think one of the
Yeah.
reps actually had to address it and said, you guys, we don't make those robots from the movies. We make the vacuums. And I was just like,
Right.
y'all need to make the damn robots because
Right.
I'm in
But
my
the
order.
vacuum alone is, oh my God, iRobot vacuum cleaner is, look, let me tell you something. If you don't have one, get one. It's great. And my husband, when we first got it, he was like, well, why do we need a robot to sweep the floor? I'm like, because I'm not sweeping the floor. Can you let the robot sweep the floor? I ain't got time to. Now, it'll miss some spots and I go back, whatever. But I'm like, whoa, that is game changing. Automation of our lives. It is now flowing into automation of our businesses. And having the knowledge to how to use these tools is
Yes.
key, key. All right, David,
Yeah.
before we go, you've got to drop one powerful nugget of information on people. Tell us something that no one else would know but you, that would be a powerful piece of information for your clients. Tell us your ultimate client. If you told them this, they'd be like, boom.
Well, so um, one of the things I think that we want to be able to do. One of the things that we believe would be game changing is to actually go and to get, oh, yes, go and make sure that your company has a product. There we go. It's so funny. I was talking to this young lady and I said, we're a digital network. Our product is this service. She said, you guys need to have a physical product. And she said, if you don't have a product, you don't have anything. And I was like, how is that? She said, because you got to have something tangible. Yes, you guys sell the concept, the creative, the signal, but what do you have tangible? Like Hustlerpreneur Academy, you have, oh my God, just the things you say. You've got the planner coming out. There's the calendar. There's all these things you can take into your daily lives. And I started thinking, okay, so what we're going to do literally, we're going to have a mug that says OnStage Plus.
Right.
You start, we're going to have the hats. So it's like, if you want to be a part of the crew, I mean, because that's the most, I think we're not trying to do a planner.
I call that, I call that the team gear, right? Or like I call it, it's all the swag bag stuff, but it's all part of your brand and your crew gear, right? So if I have a mug, so when people come on the podcast, we then send you as a thank you note, we send it back to you. We send you a mug. We have the mask, let's say Hustler Mode or Hustlerpreneur on them. We send you a mask. We send you a hat. Again, we send these to you as thank yous. So you come on the podcast and we send them out to you. And then that way you could then later say, hey, look, I'm part of the group, right? I'm part of the crew. I've been there. I've done that. I've got my t-shirt. So I think I didn't used to think of those things as my products. But then when I would do classes and teach, people would say, well, how do you stay organized? How do you look? I'm running 5 companies, right? Some of those of you who do know me know that I do more than just the business coaching and consulting. I have big, huge clients that I work with. I have the Hustle Mode Academy that'll be coming online that we're furiously doing filming and recording classes. We now have the podcast that just came out, which you're on today. We are also having, we're on Anchor FM. We have a new YouTube channel coming out. Not to mention I have a hair care line business. I have other businesses and people say, how do you sell? I said, I have this planner and this is how I set my planner up, which is why I decided to create the planner so people can have the same type of planner that I have and they can see how I use the planner to stay, on time, on point, focused, and not miss anything because you have a lot of balls in the air at any one time, right? But then you're right, that becomes my product. Wow, David, that's because it could be anything that you use in your business that you can then turn around to not only use to brand your business, but be a product of that business.
I just thought of something and I said, so funny. I said, oh my God, I want a t-shirt. I'm making a t-shirt. I want a t-shirt that says True Hustler. And on the back it says Hustlerpreneur Academy. Right. That would be so badass.
I will make that shirt for you and send it to you.
I'm like, that would be so cool. Even a mug to say True Hustler. Yeah, I graduated Hustlerpreneur. Just imagine the badge of honor. I'm a true hustler because I went to Hustlerpreneur. Boom!
Yes, boom. I'll make you that t-shirt. As you know, I'm invested into one of my nieces and nephews. They have a t-shirt making business. And so I just give them what I need to make and they make them and send them out for me because I'm part of the part owner in that business. I don't have time to make t-shirts, but I do have a t-shirt machine in my house. Sometimes I like to play with sayings and stuff. So I will make sure I get you a true hustler, graduate of the Hustler Mode Academy t-shirt, right?
That is bad. Oh, that is bad. That is bad. And just imagine that on hats, t-shirts, mugs. I mean, really, you can hear that. You walk into.
You'll be seeing them up on mock-ups on Facebook pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, they said, consider it done. The one thing too is about having a team. When you work with a team, it's like boom, boom. They like consider it done, right? This has been a fantastic time. I love talking to you. I get so much information from you. I am now thinking about a script for a commercial. I am now thinking about maybe adding a show on your network, right? Thinking about that. Maybe we can make that a 2021 goal. But I am really thinking about if I'm not in those 248 million households, I'm missing out on something. I got to get there.
I mean, just imagine, I'm just, in my mind, I look, I'm on one check, but I'm imagine you look on the President Biden's desk.
Yeah.
And on there is his mug and it says True Hustler.
Woo,
You know,
he getting
boom.
one. He getting the mug.
You know, it really, I'm saying, you heard about, real quick before I go, tell your viewers, you guys heard about the guy with Obama. I don't know if you ever knew this. When Obama's first term in office, this guy had a T-shirt he had made with President Obama's, and it said first, Black president, whatever. He wanted to try to get his T-shirt into some shirts in Washington, right? So he went on when they were during the inauguration, everything. He went on. He couldn't get close because it was so. He couldn't get close. I guess you needed tickets. The further closer you got to the actual stage.
Right.
So he drove all the way from Mississippi. This kid, he had about 100 T-shirts in a tote bag. That's all he had. He was trying to sell them to actually get back home. He only bought tickets one way. So it turns out he goes there, and so he stops at this coffee shop to get something to drink. Here's how fate plays with you. Here's how fate works. And it turns out the president's motorcade was passing by, and President Obama had a really knack for not really allowing the Secret Service to sometimes vet places before he go. He go, oh, this is like a pretty good place. Pull over, right? I can't do his voice, but he pulled over, and the guy is sitting there literally, and the Secret Service is like, hey, move out the way, move out the way. And he goes, and the president gets out, he's waving, and he comes out, and when he goes, that's the president. When he comes out, he goes, who's the president? I'm going to get his shirt. And he just kind of throws it. He gets on the president's feet. He goes, hold on, let me see this. Come here, let him through. I like this. Take the picture with the kid, keeps the T-shirt. That kid made 240,000 orders before he got home.
Yeah, it goes viral. It just doesn't, you just need one influencer, right? So I'm putting my mug on Biden's desk. I'm getting my mug. Look, if he wins the election, today is election day. For those of you who don't know, you'll be watching this, and we will already know the results by the time you actually watch this podcast. But if he wins, he is a true hustler,
entrepreneur. And he's like, we're saying Biden's a graduate. He wants to graduate.
Hustlepreneur Academy. That map if he wins tonight, right? That's for true, and that makes him a true hustler graduate of the Hustler Mode Academy.
That's right.
Well, David, this has been a phenomenal time. I swear I could talk to you for endlessly amount of time about a lot of different subjects. I am so glad to be a participant and supporter of OnStage Plus. You guys, like I say, stay cutting edge. I learn so much each and every time I talk to you or Bernadette or any one of the other people on your team, or just watching you on Facebook and all of the amazing things that you have going on, and how you really are making you really are changing the game for very small enterprise businesses, because they usually wouldn't have access to these kinds of things without you. So thank you for being in that space. This is real big. All right, David. Well, thank you again for being here to do a chit chat with Charisse. We're here in Hustler Mode Studios with David Watts from OnStage Plus. You can reach him at David Watts at OnStage Plus. But for now, that's everything here in the Hustle. They're cutting the lights out in the studios, so I guess it's time to go.
Time to go.
Right. All right, David. Thank you, and we will be seeing you soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.